guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm just gonna do a couple of little like snack recipes that I've kind of been wanting to do for a while. I know I'm for sure gonna make some zucchini breakfast cookies so I can have like a quick little snack for breakfast, and I can freeze the leftovers so then I could pull them out when I need them. And then I'm also gonna make some corn dog bites, which I wanted to do as kind of like a fun surprise lunch for my boyfriend because I pack his lunch for work. And then probably a couple other things, or maybe that's it. We'll kind of see how it goes as I get going, and I will update you along the way. So if you're new here, I just want to say welcome. And I just started this channel, and I pretty much am just doing cooking videos, what I feel like recording, and kind of sharing that journey with you guys. I've always had a passion for cooking and creating, and I'm finally merging that together to make a YouTube channel. So if you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if there's anything specific that you want to see. It'll really help me grow this channel. And with that being said, let's get cooking. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna make today is some corn dog bites, and I have this recipe for cornbread, which I will link below. I found it on allrecipes.com, and I made this cornbread before, and I really like it. So I'm gonna mix together this cornbread, and then I'm gonna cut some hot dogs up. And then I'm going to grease up this little silicone mold, which I got on Amazon, so I'll link that below too, and then pretty much just bake them up. So let's get started. So the very first thing that we're gonna do before we actually start mixing up the cornbread mixture is mise en place. Get all of our ingredients measured so then we can mix it up super easy. All right, so now that we have all our ingredients prepped and measured, we can start our mixing. Also, we are gonna want to preheat the oven to 400, so that could start heating up while we are mixing up the cornbread. So we are combining the flour, sugar, and cornmeal into a bowl, giving it a little stir, and then adding the salt and the baking powder, continuing to stir everything together to make sure that it is evenly combined. And then what I like to do is kind of make like a little well in the middle, so then we can add our wet ingredients. So we'll pour in our egg, and vegetable oil, and milk. And then I kind of like to poke the egg so it like breaks. And then slowly start to stir and incorporate everything together. And when you are baking it, you don't want to over combine your batter because that will make it tougher. So you just want to stir until just combined. So kind of gentle swirls and just making sure all of the wet ingredients and dry ingredients are combined. Another thing I like to do when I'm making like a batter, something like this, is I like to let it sit for a few minutes before I bake it, just to allow any, I don't know, like activation of any ingredients that need to, giving the baking powder a chance to do its thing. And that'll give us a moment, in this case, to prepare our hot dogs for the muffins. So that is mixed, and we will jump over to the hot dogs. So next up, I just have a package of hot dogs here that I'm gonna cut into little bite-sized bits with my nice sharp knife. So we will do that. And then after these are all cut up, we will assemble our cornbread cups. So I found this cool little silicone mold on Amazon, and I thought that this would be pretty great for making little muffins and things like that. I actually saw it on another video, so I thought it was pretty cool, so I got it. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna use this little cookie scoop to scoop my cornbread mixture into the pan, and then pop a little piece of the hot dog inside and just bake it according to the recipe directions. So it says to bake at 400 for about 20-25 minutes, but I'm gonna start out with 10 minutes and check it since they're a lot smaller and I don't want them to burn. So I'm just gonna grab a little cookie scoop worth of the cornbread mix and fill her up. All right, so now that our muffins are kind of set up, I'm gonna pop this in the oven and cook it for about 10 minutes, and then we'll check back in about 10 minutes and see how they look. So in the meantime, as the corn dog bites are starting to bake, I'm just gonna do a few of the dishes from measuring everything out, and then we'll meet back and see when everything's ready. So I've actually decided while the cornbread bites are baking, I'm gonna start mise en place, preparing my ingredients for the what are we making? The zucchini breakfast. I have my recipe out here that I found, and I will link this below, but I'm just going to start gathering our ingredients. Okay, so I have all my ingredients gathered and now I just need to measure. The recipe calls for a large ripe mashed banana and I don't have that, so I'm gonna just use some applesauce and hope that will work instead. And also this recipe uses whole wheat flour, but I don't have whole wheat flour, so I'm gonna use almond flour instead. And I'm sure you could always substitute honey for maple syrup, and you could even make a flax egg if you wanted to make these vegan, or you can use gluten-free oats and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's different options we can make here, but this is what I'm gonna go with. So I'm gonna measure everything out and I'll catch you in a sec. So, new plan. Apparently the applesauce that I had has been in my fridge for a little too long and it was moldy. So there is no ripe mashed banana and no applesauce. So I'm gonna do a quick Google search and see what I could replace, or I'm just gonna leave it out and hope for the best. Our corn dog mini muffins have been in the oven for about 15 minutes and I did the toothpick test and they seem to be good. So I'm gonna call those done. I think I overfilled them just a little bit, but I'm gonna set up a rack, cool them off, and throw the next batch in. So for the banana replacement, I'm just gonna make a flax egg. So it's gonna be 1 tablespoon of flax seeds and 2 tablespoons of water. And you just mix that together and let it sit for about 5 minutes until it forms like a gel and it's like an egg replacement. So you could even do this for both of the egg and the flax, or the egg and the applesauce and the banana. So we'll see how it goes. So the last ingredient we have to prep is the zucchini. So we're gonna use the box grater, and I have my cut-proof glove on because I'm a little baby and I'm terrified of these box graters. So I'm using the big setting just because I don't want it to take forever. So these actually turned out really good. I think that they turned out a little bit better with the smaller scoop of batter versus the bigger scoop of batter here, but I think that they're gonna be a great hit, and someone here can't wait to try them. All right, so before we start mixing up the zucchini cookies, you do want to drain the liquid out of the zucchini before you mix it in your batter because it is pretty high in moisture. So you could wrap it in a dish towel and squeeze it out, but I actually have this nut milk bag that comes in really handy for stuff like this. I got them on Amazon, I'll link that below. So I'm actually going to put the zucchini in the nut milk bag and then bring it over the sink. All right, so our oven is preheated to 350. I have the parchment paper on the baking sheet, and then now we can start to mix our ingredients. So the first thing you want to do is mix together the dry ingredients in a large bowl. So we have the rolled oats, flour, flaxseed, and then I also added a tablespoon of coconut sugar to compensate for the sweetness of the banana that I don't have. The cinnamon, baking soda, and salt. And now we're going to mix together the wet ingredients. So I have the melted butter, the egg, would add the mashed banana, but in this case I'm adding the honey and the vanilla and the flax egg. And a fun trick when you're using honey, which I forgot to do, is just slightly grease your measuring cup and the honey will slide right out. So now that the cookies are on the cookie sheet, I ended up kind of just smushing them together as you saw. These are going to bake for about 11 to 14 minutes until they are golden brown. My oven is preheated from making the corn dog bites, so now we just have to pop them in. So I definitely think my boyfriend is gonna enjoy these for lunch. These would also be great for kids or a fun little appetizer, especially for summer. So I think these turned out pretty well. I was expecting them to kind of smush a little bit more than they did, but they smell great. So I'm gonna let them chill on the baking rack for a moment here and then transfer them onto the wire rack. So this is a little unrelated to what I cooked today, but last night I made some spicy Mexican inspired kidney beans to go along with taco night, and there's way too much for me to eat all in one day, so I portioned them out in these silicone muffin tins, and then I'm just gonna pop them in a freezer bag. I put them in the freezer so then I could have a single serving of spicy kidney beans to go with taco night for quite a while. I will link the recipe to this below as well. So I think that is going to be a wrap for this first video. If you notice, I did change clothes because I get a little hot in the kitchen. But we have the that are cooling down, and then I have the zucchini cookies. I'm about to transfer those to the cooling rack so they can cool down. And then as soon as those are cool, I'm going to put most of them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer. I do have some silicone bags that I usually use, but they are all either drying or most of them are in use right now, so I might get some more, but I do already have these gallon-sized disposable Ziploc bags, so I'm going to use those so I'm not wasting. And then that way I can just pull individual ones out when So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun for me to kind of share my experience with you today. If you have any questions about the recipes, drop me a comment below. I'm going to leave the recipe I used as well as some of those links for the items I mentioned down below. And give this video a like if you found it useful, share, comment, subscribe. I'm really excited to grow this channel with you guys. So until then, I can't wait to see you in the next video.